Hello and good day, everyone. I'm Mrs. Annabel Maglasang, one of the guided services of the UP Cebu. I'm very happy and honored to share some important information on the topic promoting mental health in UP Cebu. This is intended for UP staff, faculty, reps, and the administrative staff and UP college students. The outline of my discussion is a definition of mental health, the mental health situation in the Philippines, mental health continuum model, Mental Health Act, which is the Republic Act 11036, its salient features, the services involved, the mental health professionals, promoting a mentally healthy UP Cebu framework given by our own Chancellor, mental health assessment, the dynamics of stress, anxiety, and depression, protocols, and linkages. What is the mental health? The World Health Organization has defined mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her potentials, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, able to make a contribution to his or her community. It is not merely the absence of disease, but complete physical, mental, and social well-being. In the recent years, there have been increasing acknowledgement of the important role that mental health plays in achieving global development goals, as illustrated by the inclusion of mental health in the Sustainable Development Goal. This is sustainable number 3. Mental health is also defined as a state of well-being in which the individual displays resilience, the ability to bounce back in the face of extreme life events, works productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a positive contribution to the community. So we are able to make contribution like what we are doing, work from home, or maybe studying from home. And contribution can be specific activities like during this pandemic, there are a lot of people who are feeding, who are giving protective gears, and following health protocols are very good contributions already. According to the Mental Health Act, it seeks to establish access to comprehensive and integrated mental health services, protecting the rights of people with a mental health disorder. What is the mental health situation in the Philippines? 1 in every 5 suffers from mental health problem. With a population of almost 100 million, there are 700 psychiatrists, 1,000 psychiatric nurses, and an estimated of about 3,400 licensed guidance counselors. So very small mental health professionals to help out a lot of people who are experiencing mental illnesses. Another realistic situation is that prohibitive economic conditions and inaccessibility of mental health service limits access to mental health care. Not to mention the stigma that is attached to persons with mental health disorders and thus becomes a barrier to help-seeking behavior of Filipinos. I will show you a survey conducted last 2015 by the Global-Based Student Health from the Department of Health. The study attempted to look into students aged 16 to 17 years old. Those who attempted suicide 1 or more times during the 12 months before the survey, female 17.8%, male 14.5%, and a total of 16.2%. Now, those who are seriously considering attempt suicide during the 12 months period in the survey, female students are 14.7%, male students 9.1%, a total of 11.9%. And the students who really actually made a plan on how they would attempt suicide during the 12 months for the survey indicated female students 11.7%, male 8.5%, a total of 10.1%. Most of the time or always felt lonely. During the 12 months before the survey, female students 19.8%, male 15.5%, and a total of 17.6%. What have you observed in this survey? Who among the two gender always gets lonely or sad? Yes, female students have higher percentage because we know that females are sentimental and very sensitive. But take note that we have also to be careful with our male students because they appear to be strong in the outside, but deep inside they are lonely and they bottle up their emotions. Look, how about our LGBTI friends? What do you think? We need also to be gender sensitive and compassionate to our students, friends, and our colleagues. I will show you a mental health continuum model. This is from USA. There are 4 modes because everyone, this is how we indicate how we are mentally healthy, reacting, injured, and ill. So we experience normal mood fluctuations when we are calm and take things in stride. We have a good sense of humor. We are performing well. In control mentally, we have normal sleep patterns, few sleep difficulties. Physically well, we have a good energy level, physically and socially active, and not drinking any alcohol, no gambling, or limited alcohol use, then we belong to the mentally healthy mode. But when we are already irritable and impatient, we are nervous, we experience sadness, we are overwhelmed, display sarcasm, procrastination, forgetfulness, trouble sleeping, intrusive thoughts, nightmares, muscle tension, headaches, low energy, decreased activity in socializing, and regular but controlled alcohol use or gambling, we are now reacting. And then take note that when we feel mad or angry, we have anxiety, pervasively sad, hopeless. We have the negative attitude, poor performance, workaholic, poor concentration, and poor decision making, restless, disturbed sleep, recurrent images, nightmares, increased body aches and pains, increased fatigue, avoidance, withdrawal, increased alcohol use and gambling, and other addictions are now hard to control, then we are injured. Please note that when we have angry outbursts, aggression, excessive anxiety, panic attacks, depression, suicidal thoughts, over insubordination, we cannot perform our duties, we cannot even study well, and we cannot control our behavior or concentrate, and there are sleep disturbances. It's either we cannot fall asleep or we cannot, so that's insomnia or excessive sleeping, or sleeping too much or too little. Then we have physical illnesses, constant fatigue, not going out or answering the phone, alcohol or gambling addiction or online gaming addictions are indicators that we are mentally ill. In the Mental Health Act of 2019, Republic Act 11036, the role of schools, colleges, and universities is to promote mental health. So by providing the right information, to provide basic support services for individuals at risk, already have a mental health condition, establish efficient linkages with other agencies and organizations that provide or make arrangements to provide support, treatment, and continuing care. So for the UP Cebu faculty, reps, and admin staff, Employers shall develop appropriate policies and programs on mental health in the workplace. It includes raise awareness on mental health issues, correcting the stigma and discrimination associated with mental health conditions, and identify, provide support for individuals at risk with or those individuals with mental health conditions to treatment and psychosocial support. What are the mental health services that are to be offered? So in universities, we can do promotion, which is what we are doing right now. We can also have preventive activities, and treatment and aftercare are provided by mental health professionals in a specific mental health facilities. To elaborate, let us look at the mental health services. So this is now the continuum of care. So as you can see, mental health services includes from left to right the promotion, raising of awareness through infographics, sharing of researches, and webinars, which are usually done locally or universally. The second is prevention, which involves specific and selective activities such as eating a balanced diet, balance between work and personal life, enough rest and sleep, yoga, meditation, and enough work output in your studies or in your career. So the third is treatment. So we have case identification and treatment for certain disorders or diseases. So we have standard treatment for the known disorders. Studies show that clinical psychologists would use activities such as or psychotherapy like the cognitive behavior therapy, Gestalt, or maybe other creative approaches such as activities where the person will enjoy and forget the hurts or even about the pandemic and other trauma, which includes play therapy, art therapy, dancing, music, gardening, or writing journal or gratitude notes, depending on the coping preferences of the individual. Other individuals may need to see a doctor. So the treatment can include going to a psychiatrist where they give antidepressants. And the last is recovery from the mental illness, which needs a compliance with long-term treatment. The goal is reduction in relapse and recurrence, especially aftercare, including rehabilitation. Activities can include mindfulness, and if you watch the Korean movie, It's Okay Not to Be Okay, then you will understand butterfly hugs and solution-based therapy. What is the quality of mental health services based on the Republic Act 11063? The treatment or services has to be medical and scientific research findings, responsive to the gender, clinical, cultural, ethnic, and other specific needs of the individual being served, such as economic, social, and spiritual needs. It is also age appropriate and less restrictive, and it is provided by mental health professionals. So you will ask, who are the mental health professional in our school? So we have to establish a good referral system. So of course, in our school, we have referred to a medical doctor or our nurse. So our doctor is Dr. Laurel D, and our nurse Ken for physical well-being or the health services unit, and refer to the guidance counselor or our guidance services specialist at the Office of Student Affairs. Then we have clinical psychologists, psychiatrists for mental well-being, and refer to the social worker at the Department of Social Work Department, our local officer for gender-related violence, such as sexual harassment, online bullying, rape, and others. Mental health refers to qualified persons with specific skills relevant to the provision of mental health services. So these are our pictures. So we have yours truly. I'm in charge of the College of Science. Sir Cipriano Olita is in charge of School of Management and the math students. Ms. Jacelu Saturinas is in charge of the College of Communication, Art and Design. And Sir Jeffrey Pelonia is in charge of the College of Social Sciences. And Dr. Laurel D., our university physician, this is her email, lsd@up.edu.ph. In one of the IOTA Phi International Conference last October 2017, Attorney Liza Coro was a speaker, and she talked about promoting a mentally healthy UP Cebu, which includes satisfying relationship with others, the presence of social and emotional well-being, which is a state of positive mental health and wellness. There is a sense of optimism, confidence, happiness, clarity, vitality, self-worth, achievement, having a meaning and purpose, engagement, having a supportive family and friends, and very important, understanding ourselves and responding effectively to one's own emotions. So we need to label our emotions to understand what we are feeling right now. Most especially during this situation, I would encourage that we show compassion and love to others. Okay. Another important thing that you mentioned in that conference is to promote a mentally healthy UP Cebu, free from mental health problems such as emotional and social challenges, difficulties like financial conditions and illnesses that can beset anyone, including stress and burnout, anxiety, depression, and other behavioral problems. So we can also be available for others and be compassionate. So as a friend, student, if your co-student or your peers are having difficulty, try to reach out to them. And for those who are also having difficulties, reach out to your peers and also to your teachers or to your mentors. And as colleague, we can spare time to listen or discuss various issues. And if not, we can also be asking our mental health professionals like our guidance services specialists and of course our university physician. So we hope also that our mentors, faculty, and administrators are flexible, understanding, and compassionate during this COVID-19 pandemic. There are a lot of struggles that we are experiencing. And take note that the mental health professionals like Dr. Lee and yours truly and the other guidance services specialists are doing online counseling or online consultation from the doctor. Now, we can also tap our UP alumni, Robbie at Chavez, who is a clinical psychologist. So you can also consult him online. So how do we achieve mentally healthy school? So this was the framework that Attorney Karen mentioned. There are three elements: the curriculum, learning and teaching, school organization and ethics, community links and partnerships and services. So there has to be a collaboration and interconnectedness between the teachers, parents, students, and the wider community, which is a key to developing a mentally healthy school. The next school year will be exciting and challenging since the curriculum has to be adjusted. The platform of learning becomes more remote and individualistic. The teaching uses remote learning or blended and life learning skills. There will be bridging programs offered by the Open University, and there will be interactive teaching with the same standards of excellence and active learning and collaborative work between students and faculty. We'll also be offering learning assistance grants, peer learning groups, student wellness systems, and student help desks across different constituent universities within the UP system. college life would be boring without the school organizations and ethics. Therefore, there will still be active student and adult involvement in governance, student leadership, and human potential trainings, which we can avail online, such as webinars. And there are opportunities also to participate in different school activities, and you have to be creative even in your student organization activities, whether professional groups, and the staff can also join union meetings through Zoom meetings or be involved in social civic groups and other religious affiliations and the like. Finally, we need also to connect with our community and partners. So very important, for example, is our UP Alumni Association. So we have an Alumni Association for UP High School. We have also another UP Alumni Association for the college, and the graduate school has also an Alumni Association and school organization. We also need to link to the Parents Teachers Association. And of course, we have a lot of alumni and friends in the different hospitals, in the print and social media, legal firms, and other non-government organizations here and abroad. So how do we determine whether the psychological distress is manageable or not? What will you do? First, you observe or verify. If you are someone you know who is worried about a mental health issue, the first step is to talk to him or her. Then refer to a healthcare professional. Your local doctor, like Dr. Laurel D, can conduct an initial mental health assessment, or you may refer them to us, your guidance counselors, or to the psychologist or psychiatrist, depending on the needs. So the teacher, the staff, or anybody like a student would please go to the referral. Okay. So what are the 5 warning signs of mental illness? Let me reiterate. Long-lasting sadness or irritability, extremely high and low moods, excessive fear, worry, and anxiety, social withdrawal, dramatic changes in eating or sleeping habits. As a word of caution, as a reminder, please do not self-diagnose or do not also self-medicate. Like when you want to sleep, so you just drink sleeping pills, or when you feel that, or ask your friends that someone is also taking some antidepressants. You have to consult and to be assessed properly. So go to the mental health professionals for proper diagnosis and assessment. And for the psychiatrists, they have this as a Bible, the DSM-5, or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders by the American Psychiatric Association. So the dynamics of stress. The mind is a powerful tool, and based on researches, stress or burnout can affect our body. So starting with the head, so these are the warning signals. When issues of mood, anger, depressions, or irritability, lack of energy, concentration problems due to anxiety and panic attacks. Then we see in our skin, we have so many pimples or acne, psoriasis, eczema, dermatitis, random breakouts, and skin rashes. Our stomach, which can cause peptic ulcer, disease, IBD, which stands for inflammatory bowel diseases, IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome. Yeah, we always have the stomach problems, food allergies, stomach cramps, reflux, nausea, and weight fluctuations. Of course, when we are stressed, our heart, that's why it increases blood pressure, fast heartbeat, increased risk of heart attack and stroke, and higher cholesterol. So our intestines, decreased nutrient absorption, reduces metabolism, decreased enzymatic output, and the risk of, again, inflammatory bowel diseases, diabetes, and more. So stress also affects our pancreas. It results in elevated secretions of insulin, which is chronic, could lead to diabetes and damage arteries and obesity. Our reproductive system is also affected by stress, wherein there is decreased testosterone and estradiol production, leading to reduced fertility, dampening of sexual behavior, and loss of sexual drive. Take note that with stress and burnout, our immune system suppresses the effectiveness of the immune system to battle and recover from illnesses. It leads to high levels of inflammation in the body, which causes a variety of chronic health conditions. And of course, when we feel that there are a lot of body aches in our joints and muscles and pains, that's an indication of stress and burnout. So inflammation, tension, especially here in the shoulder, lowered bone density, propensity for osteoporosis, tightness in the back and the shoulders. Okay. So what is the flow chart of student referral link? So if you experience all of those physical illnesses, of course, you'll consult with Dr. Lee. Or some of those can be psychosomatic, so all in your head. So you can talk to us at OSA. So the health services informs also the college or the counselor, and the college clerk checks if the student is enrolled, and the college secretary, if needed, informs parents, guardians, or sometimes we, the guidance services specialist, will inform or call up the parents and guardians. Okay. Now, what is the dynamics of anxiety? According to researchers, anxiety is manifested, our worries and fears, by overthinking, avoidance, sweating, stomach issues, panic attacks. Okay, so we need reassurance, lack of patience, remember, very irritable and impatient, procrastination, trouble concentrating, trouble breathing, constant worrying, constant headaches, rapid heartbeat, insomnia, and of course, memory issues. So you feel that this is a higher level now of your fears and worry or anxiety. Okay. So what do you do with this, students at risk? So assessment of students, we have an intake interview. Okay, so we determine the level of risk. Remember, our mental health professional. So the doctor or the counselor may conduct an initial intake interview, and the risk is according to low risk, moderate risk, or high risk. So what are these risks? It's either they harm themselves, they harm other people, or neglect of self. So when it is low risk, refer to the guidance OSA. Guidance counselors will conduct counseling. Okay. For moderate risk, we inform the parents. So we refer to the psychiatrist, but we advise you can also refer to the clinical psychologist for crisis counseling. And family or parental involvement. If there are no parents, then the guardian or anyone like relatives within the family. For high-risk students, especially those who already harmed themselves or others, have suicidal thoughts or attempts of suicide or plans, we inform the parents and refer to the psychiatrist. There will be crisis counseling, or if necessary, depending on the case of the student, and we have to inform the parents or relatives, and we develop safety plans and contact. And of course, we inform university stakeholders. Okay, so again, for active or concrete suicide plan, then they have to be referred already to the psychiatrist or go to the hospital. But when they come back, because usually they take a leave of absence, we request that we require them for medical clearance as fit for schooling or studying or going back to the university. So what is the dynamics of depression and suicide? Depression is one of the leading causes of disability. When it is not handled well, it can lead to suicide. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-old. People with severe mental health conditions die prematurely or die young. Some of the conditions that lead to depression could be unhealed traumatic experiences in the past, severe physical, verbal, or psychological abuses, bullying, especially now that there is also cyberbullying, not being able to cope with adversities in life like death of a loved one, breakup with your loved ones, or a significant relationship. So what are the signs and symptoms of depression? One is the feeling of helplessness or feeling of hopelessness, thoughts of death, then changes in appetite. So again, eating too much or eating nothing at all is a danger sign. Guilt, then there is anger, and then you cannot move, there is energy loss, and then sleep problem. So some will keep on sleeping, just staying in their bedrooms all day long, and some are even withdrawing from friends and family. They cannot concentrate. So of course, when you are depressed, you cannot concentrate anymore. And then you have insomnia. And some would resort to alcohol and drug abuse. So the protocol for case of emergency, okay, UP Cebu help desk or hotlines are soon to be established or set up. But this is our number 232-8187 or our trunk line. So I have also listed here hotlines in case of emergency. So the ambulance is 161, fire 160, the police is 166, the DSWD is 233-8785 or 231-2172. I think Bantay Bata is 163 if you see children being punished physically by their parents, okay? So, the linkages and partnerships. Here are the listing of the psychiatrists or hospitals. Right now, we can call the hospitals like Vicente Soto Hospital because they have a behavioral science unit. So 255-1591, 253-18423. Perpetual Soccer, which is the nearest hospital in UP. From Changhua Hospital, Dr. Jacqueline C. So this is her number. We have Dr. Maria Giselle Radom. This is a private psychiatrist. So 254-6350 or her cell number. Dr. Michelin Buot, 253-2994 from the Visayas Community Medical Center. And Dr. Largo of the Cebu Doctors Hospital. So these are the numbers, the listing of psychiatrists and hospitals where you can contact if it is really very necessary to get in touch with them. I'll show you that right now, mental health issues have increased because we are in a state of crisis. Fear, worry, stress are normal responses to perceive or real threats. And at times when we are faced with uncertainty, especially we cannot see COVID-19, we don't have the physical of COVID. So it is normal and understandable and natural that people are experiencing anxious, our moods are saddened, especially with so many changes. And Sometimes we don't feel like going to the school or maybe to work. We are exhausted. We have all the body aches and the physical pain. We want to be isolated, poor sleep, weight loss. Sometimes we cannot understand ourselves. And of course, some people would resort to drug or alcohol. Added to fear or contracting the virus in a pandemic such as COVID are the significant changes to daily lives, and our movements are restricted to our homes. And we have to slow down or to be away from people. Faced with these new realities of working or studying from home and the temporary unemployment, homeschooling of children, and the lack of physical contact with other family members, friends, and colleagues, will also show our struggling feelings like we became anxious, depressed, sad, low self-esteem, tired, poor work performance, poor concentration, poor sleep, poor appetite. And we have unsettling feelings like, again, worried, fierce, nervous, edgy, irritable, frustrated, self-doubting, sad, gloomy, trouble sleeping, tired, distracted, and decreased social activity. And the World Health Organization, together with partners in providing guidance and advice during the COVID-19 pandemic, can you just imagine the health workers, the frontliners, no? They are experiencing unsettled feelings. And people like me who are taking care of the elderly or someone in your family, or those who are also infected with the disease, like people in isolation or in the quarantine, members in the community. So I really like this positive psychology of thriving. We see on Facebook that there is the Bayanihan spirit. So we can still go back to our normal mood. Although there are some variations, we can be positive. We see people helping out other people by giving PPE, volunteers, feeding, volunteers also for helping the barrier workers or our frontliners, or just saying thank you. It will make them calm. It will help them function normally in the job. We go back to our sleep. We are focused and we now eat normally. And of course, our social activities through social media. Okay. And of course, in positive psychology by Seligman, we can also do excelling. So we, especially when we post cheerful notes, virtual hugs, for me, I become happy with those. We try to reach out and say, kumusta? Kumusta ka bay? Kumusta ka day? Naunsa na? And we look for solutions rather than we just keep on wallowing in the problems and we cannot do anything with the system which is rotten. But we have to be creative. We go back to our energy. We go back to our high job performance. We prioritize sleep and recovery. Flowing. So we have to engage. We discuss solutions and new things. We fully realize our potentials. Like some are even knowing how to cook, to bake, and they even have online selling right now. So actively seeking connections. Okay. So very important is self-care and the holistic approach, which means that we provide behavioral health care, we promote our health, and we prevent disease. Diseases or illness is very expensive, and it's better to take care of ourselves. So the holistic model is linkage of treatment, prevention, and recovery. So again, the framework, this is I'm sharing to you my dissertation, which is called Ginhawa in Cebuano. Breathe. So muginhawa taglam. So proper breathing is very important, especially when you're anxious, no? You just count 1 to 5, breathe in, and 6 to 10, breathe out. So ginhawa is actually influenced by Dr. Bautista, and Bolet Bautista when she came to UP Cebu and discussed about psychosocial support and psychological first aid, and Dr. Ignacio in relation to disaster risk management during the Yolanda. So these are scientific findings, and I really like this framework wherein individuals with moderate cases of depression can still prevent, like us, we have to take care of our mind, our body, our heart, and our soul. So our physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. We are interconnectedness. As they say, ang sakit ng kalingkingan ay nadarama sa buong katawan. So, well-being, kaayuhan and Cebuano, is a balance between these four elements. So again, let us start with the mind, our intellect. We look for our enthusiasm. Unsay ganahan. Because when we experience crisis, watay gana, walay gana, naglibog, na blanco atong utok. But when we look for, we go back to our purpose. We go back to what is meaningful, and we go back to our goal. We think positive, we look into innovative ways. The human mind has the will to live and the control of our intellectual functions. So we need to take care of what we think, what we read, and what we believe in. Next is our body, or our physical. So we maintain our energy. If we are depressed or we think so much and we lack sleep, then naluya, walay kusog. So how do we regain back our kusog? So we go back to a healthy lifestyle. Ginhawa, breathing, or exercise at home, no? Sleep well, and maybe balance of our body and our mind and our heart. So the body is a reservoir of energy and strength, handles the physical state. We should take care of our body, or else we will have a lot of malfunction. Of course, our heart. We contain our uplifted spirit. Our heart will determine walay kalipay, so naguol. But we can still find happiness by looking into our passion or thinking and doing the things that you enjoy. Maybe you forgot drawing, dancing, singing, and the spirit of Filipinos are resilient. So we can have an uplifted spirit. The heart beats to find meaning, love, happiness, and acceptance. We value our relationship with family, friends, social support, even online. So we learn to hold on to positive things and let go of negative things. And finally, let us not forget the soul, because the soul, our heart, will lead us to action. We can move forward. So magaan, so this is walay gaan kay bugat, but dunay gaan, so especially when we pray, right? The soul handles the spiritual aspect of a person. So if it's not prayers, we have to be still, to be calm by meditation, by yoga, or some we pray the rosary and have other devotions. We can transcend whatever challenges in life that we face. We look for a supreme being to comfort us, and we also have to forgive ourselves and to forgive others. Okay? So let go of this hurts and let go, but instead think of positive things. Okay? So I know it's easier said than done, but a balance between the body, the mind, the heart, and the soul is very important. So these are my references. And what to expect next, please listen to the other topics to be discussed by my co-guidance services specialists, such as understanding psychosocial support, understanding psychological first aid, coping strategies, so specific tips on time management, resilience, problem solving. Let's all be hopeful, stay safe, and definitely be grateful. So I would like to thank everyone for listening to my inputs and thank you, Ms. Jar, for allowing me to share this and the team of the academic service learning. So we need to team up as well. And of course, when you make gratitude a habit, you make happiness a lifestyle. So daghang salamat. God bless us all.